I had just moved into my tiny apartment in Colonia Roma, Mexico City, in the summer of 2015. The building was old, its walls thin, and the floors groaned with every step. From my fifth-floor window, I could hear the distant rumble of traffic, the occasional shouts of street vendors, and the faint strains of a guitar from a nearby plaza. I loved the city, the heat and the chaos. But that summer, I had no idea that one restless night would change everything. It started subtly, as if the city itself had conspired to make me aware of something unseen. I was lying in bed, a worn Cortázar paperback in my hands, when the air in my apartment thickened. I brushed it off as the heat. Mexico City nights could be suffocating in July, but the sensation gnawed at me, a cold, deliberate presence, watching, waiting. Then I felt it. Someone at the foot of my bed. Not physically, but in a way that pressed into my skin, into my senses. My chest tightened, my pulse spiking. I froze, heart hammering, unable to move. And then the sensation shifted. It was no longer fear but desire. Electric, invasive, consuming. I felt lips brush against my neck, not physically but intimately, precisely, as if tracing every nerve. My breaths hitched. My body arched on its own, and I could feel the sharp wave of pleasure rolling through me. I wanted to scream, but no sound escaped. My body convulsed, racked with sensations that blurred the line between terror and craving. By the time it subsided, I lay trembling, drenched in sweat, gasping, acutely aware of an absence that was still somehow there. I told myself it was a dream, a hallucination brought on by heat and stress. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. The next night, I invited my friend Marisol over. She was practical, grounded, and loved the same old jazz records I did. We drank mezcal, listening to Miles Davis, trying to laugh off the tension I hadn't admitted aloud. Around 2 a.m., she flinched. "I feel like someone's here," she whispered. I laughed nervously, blaming creaking walls and my overactive imagination. But then the air shifted. The same pressure returned, stronger, colder, more intrusive. This time, it wasn't just me. Marisol's skin prickled, her breath quickened, her body stiffened beside mine. The presence moved between us, heavy and intimate. Phantom lips brushed our skin, phantom hands tracing impossible paths over our arms and legs. The tension was almost unbearable. I felt her body mirror my own, the way our nervousness and fear intertwined with the forbidden thrill of what we were feeling. Panic and desire collided in sharp waves that made my stomach clench. I could feel my muscles tense, convulse, arching toward a climax I didn't understand but couldn't resist. When it passed, we lay on the floor, silent, shaking, hearts hammering, eyes wide, unable to speak. Over the following week, the encounters grew more frequent, almost nightly. I could feel him, the presence. As soon as I walked into the apartment, a shadow in the corner, a heat pressing through the sheets, a whisper along my skin. Some nights I was alone, the pressure focused entirely on me, merciless, consuming. Other nights Marisol stayed. The three of us two and the presence, formed a tense, silent triangle, each night more dangerous than the last. It wasn't violent, not in the usual sense, but it was invasive, merciless. My body moved without my consent, trembling, arching, quivering at phantom touches. I slept with the lights on, tried music, candles, salt in the corners. Nothing worked. The presence didn't need doors, didn't need windows. He was in the air, in the walls, in our minds. One particularly humid night, I woke to the sensation of being pinned. No weight, just pressure, impossibly close. The air vibrated, and I could feel him studying me, consuming me. Every touch, every movement was precise, orchestrated to provoke waves of pleasure that left me convulsing. My fingers clawed the sheets, toes curling, heart hammering, until I couldn't distinguish fear from desire. By the time it ended, I lay trembling, gasping, aware of every inch of my skin, every heartbeat, every nerve. Marisol experienced it too. We lay together on the floor, trying to distract ourselves with conversation. But the presence came for both of us at once. Shadows slid across the walls, impossible but real, brushing thighs, stomachs, shoulders. Our breaths mingled, ragged and shallow, hearts racing. Each wave of pleasure was intense, sharp, invasive, leaving us trembling for air, suspended in a dangerous limbo between terror and craving. After a few weeks, it became almost predictable. I could anticipate the way the presence would move through the apartment, the slight drop in temperature near the window, the heavy breath I didn't hear, the sudden tingle along my skin. And yet, each encounter escalated, faster, stronger, more consuming. One night, I stayed late on the rooftop terrace, the city lights twinkling far below. I felt him immediately, heavier in the open air than anywhere else. He pressed close, brushing invisible lips along my shoulders, spine, thighs. The sensation was exquisite, terrifying, a razor's edge between pain and pleasure. I trembled on the tiles, gasping, convulsing, unable to resist the phantom rhythm. My climax came in jolts that left me dizzy, shaking, aware that even the night air carried him. My neighbor, a young man named Diego, began noticing changes in me. He would occasionally comment on how exhausted I looked, my jumpiness. One night, he stayed to help me move boxes, and the presence made itself known to him as well. A cold brush of air along his neck, a weight pressing on his chest. He froze, staring at empty space, skin prickled, heart hammering. I recognized the look. He had felt it too. The city itself became a stage. Street vendors, honking cars, distant sirens, faint guitar strains from the plaza below, all blended into the nights, grounding us while the apartment became a theatre of surreal, erotic and terrifying encounters. I sometimes screamed silently into the sheets, unsure if it was fear or pleasure. Marisol and Diego would lie awake afterward, hearts racing, silent, knowing it would happen again. We tried every defense, lights, incense, loud music, salt, rituals. Nothing worked. He didn't need consent. He didn't respect barriers. He moved through walls, floors and minds, orchestrating an intimacy that was not ours, yet left us craving, trembling, desperate. By the end of the month, I knew the rhythm. The presence had become a dangerous, adrenaline-fueled part of life. Each night was a tightrope walk between fear and desire. I learned to ride the waves, to survive the intensity without being consumed. Yet every encounter left me shaking, drenched in sweat, acutely aware of every inch of my skin, every heartbeat, every nerve. Even years later, I can feel him, the phantom lips, the weight of unseen hands, the surge of pleasure that left me trembling, aware, alive in ways that terrifies me.